Every single time, every single crime, every single lie, early lie. Every single hour, every single day, every single night, early lie. I know it's hard to believe it's the whole forest, not one tree, and it's every branch and leaf. They're born to deceive, but I'm telling you the truth. It's not just one or two, it's every single Jew. And they all hate you. And it really breaks my heart, but their lies are off the charts, and they only bring us harm. You gotta get smart. So if you want to be safe and don't want to get replaced, it's best you start being based, or you'll get erased. Every single time, every single crime, every single lie, early life. Every single hour, every single day, every single night, early life. I know it's hard to accept that all the ones you've met lie with every single breath. They want you dead, but you must not be weak. Just open your eyes and see they always exploit the meek. See their vampire teeth, and it can make you cry to learn your life was full of lies and their face was a disguise. But you must fight. So if you want to live and protect all of your kin, you have to grow thick skin, or we won't. Every single time, every single crime, every single lie, early life. Every single hour, every single day, every single night, early life.
It's not my fault that I have to do this. You only pick on me because I'm Jewish. Stop being a jealous loser and go get a job. I can do what I want because I'm chosen by God. If I don't run your media, someone else will. If I don't edit Wikipedia, someone else will. If I don't limit your reach, someone else will. If I don't censor speech, someone else will. If I don't blow up your kids, someone else will. If I don't attack US ships, someone else will. If I don't steal your things, someone else will. If I don't run paid or rings, it's not my fault that I have to do this. You only pick on me because I'm Jewish. Stop being a jealous loser and go get a job. I can do what I want because I'm chosen by God. If I don't steal your land, someone else will. If I don't engage in scams, someone else will. If I don't buy your politicians, someone else will. If I don't do false flag missions, someone else will. If I don't control your bank, someone else will. If I don't crush people with tanks, someone else will. If I don't make the call, someone
Let's go. You know what time it is.
control it all. It's not my fault that I have to do this. You only pick on me because I'm Jewish. Stop being a jealous loser and go get a job. I can do what I want because I'm chosen by God.
arrogance is cancer. You lie like a Jew to comfort your troubled soul. Afraid of taking responsibility, refusing to grow old. You need to wake up, you still think this is a game. Why would anyone fear a child who's afraid of names?
Let's go, Ninja. You know what time it is.
Who's responsible for it all? Is it the Jews or is it really me? Tell me the truth so I can be set free. Mirror, mirror on the wall. Who's responsible for it all?
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Tell me the truth so I can be set free. Who put the golden cuffs on you if not yourself? Who offered up their wrists for promises of comfort and wealth? But you know they are lies, fantasies that keep you in place. The lies that you repeat, which help enslave your race. Nobody respects a coward. No one kneels to a boy. No playtime for you. Go to your room, you little boy. Want to be free? I'll tell you what to do. Next time you look in the mirror, accept the damn truth.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Who's responsible for it all? Is it the Jews or is it really me? Tell me the truth so I can be set free. Mirror, mirror on the wall. Who's responsible for it all? Is it the Jews or is it really me? Tell me the truth so I can be set free.
All right, and we are live. What's up, guys? Welcome to the stream, man. It is September 15th, about to be 7 o'clock. DJ Gaines in the house, as you guys can see. I was mixing the ones and twos in the back there. You guys like that stuff? That all comes from my guy, Lucas Gage. The name of the first one is called Early Life, then followed by Someone Else Will, and then Mirror, Mirror. All comes from Lucas Gage. Shout out to him. Hilarious stuff, right? It's trolling, but it's also still funny and truthful to some degree. He has a bunch of stuff like that. So yeah. Let's see here. I know a lot of you guys were probably watching the Candace Owens stream. I was gonna turn the stream on earlier, but I was like, you know what? Let me let her finish, and then I'll start. And we kind of went from there. But yeah, I want to talk about a couple things, guys. I wanted to focus mostly on Qatar and Kash Patel. We will talk about some of the stuff with Charlie as well. But without further ado, let's kind of just get right into it, guys. With what's going on and with Qatar. So, for those of you that are not familiar, last week Israel struck Qatar in an effort to kill leaders of Hamas. Okay. And one of the main guys they wanted to get rid of was Hamas leadership, and I'll show you guys kind of one of the main guys they want to get rid of. So these two are the main guys, Mashal and Al-Haya. Okay. Now, pretty much the majority of all the other Hamas leaders have already been killed. This guy, Mashal, the Israelis have been trying to kill him for a minute, by the way, okay? They almost killed him back in 1997 in Jordan. They ran a Mossad operation covertly without permission from the Jordanian government, and they poisoned this guy, right? Khalid Mashal. And he almost died, but the king of Jordan pressured Israel and said if they don't give him the antidote, their peace agreement would die alongside him. And, Netanyahu didn't want to do it, and Bill Clinton had to put an enormous amount of pressure on Benjamin Netanyahu to get the antidote from the Israelis. So finally, they gave in. A Mossad operative went to Jordan, passed the antidote, and they were able to save his life. But they've been trying to kill this guy for a long time, chat. Long time. And they've pretty much removed the majority of the other leadership. But obviously, if they've taken it to this next step by trying to kill him in Qatar, right? They literally bombed Doha, a sovereign nation, a country that is an ally of the United States. And also, not just an ally of the United States, but we have the biggest military base over there. So for them to bomb him is nuts. So, but the Israelis, as you guys know, will stop at nothing. So this is what they do. Hold on one sec, guys. And we got something for you guys big this week, too, that we're going to announce, me and Brett. All right, let me read some of these chats real quick from you guys. Daryl Philbin says, did you catch Dave Smith on Rogan? I know it was a couple weeks ago. I wasn't sure if you reacted to it. No, I did not. I did not see it. Freshest Dog, crazy how you put the $1 special chat, and now we got a ton of FBAs in here. Oh, really? We got FBAs in the chat? Bro, I'll never understand why they watch me, bro. I'll never understand. Mine, I just realized you look like the Arab Kyrie Irving. I mean, if you say so. The last guy Charlie was debating asked, do you know how many transgender Americans have been mass shooters over the last 10 years? Charlie responded, too many, and then Charlie got shot by a loser whose boyfriend was trans. He proved Charlie right. Yeah, recipes to Charlie, man. I heard you say new merch coming this week. Yes, new merch is coming this week. New merch is coming this week. We were going to launch some of this stuff last week, guys, but obviously, given what happened with Charlie, we delayed it. We delayed it. Also, I think I'm going to be debating this weekend, chat. I think I'm gonna debate Destiny this weekend. So we'll see what happens there on Israel Palestine. And then I think I got something with Tatum when he comes back. So yeah. I'm not gonna lie, I know you cool with Destiny. That Piers Morgan interview you did today with Andrew Wilson about Kirk. He's sick as fuck. I don't condone that shit at all. Oh, I didn't see his interview. He went on. I didn't know he went on Piers Morgan today. I literally just got up, guys. I was up really late last night. But yeah, we're gonna debate. Probably, I'm thinking Saturday is what's gonna happen. Oh, and then also, let me read some of these chats that I missed yesterday, by the way, guys. For all you guys that donated on Myron Gaines X yesterday, I want to read the chat for you guys real fast. Any ones that I might have missed, which I apologize. I didn't open it up. Muhammad Halimi says, apparently the Hamas leaders flew to Algeria's Qatari Air Force, went there before the attack. Do you think that's a possibility? And which Arab countries do you think Israel are scared of? Israel's not scared of any Arab country. That's precisely the problem. Please look at the video from Charlie's left side. I'm slow. In slow-mo, you can see the bullet behind his head 1 millisecond. Leak Check Net says, RIP Kirk from Leak Check Net. Okay. Chris Marshall says, we need to figure out why the plane left so soon and why the locator was turned off, which is illegal. Van City Graper says, look, please look into the video from Charlie's left side. Okay. Yep. Yeah, I didn't realize we got some FBA guys in here. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the Qatar stuff first, guys.
We begin with breaking news in the Middle East. Israel has carried out strikes. We begin with breaking news in the Middle East. Israel has carried out strikes in Qatar, targeting senior Hamas leaders in the capital city of Doha.
Yeah, what do you say on Piers Morgan, guys? I didn't see the interview.
It is the first time Israel has struck inside Qatar. Israel is calling the attack the summit of fire. It comes.
And if you guys see, Qatar is just a little small Gulf state, right? As with many of these Gulf state countries are. Wealthy but small. The only thing they have is money.
As efforts to end the war in Gaza continue, Doha has been the base of the Hamas negotiating group, and Hamas.
Yeah, guys, I did not see what Destiny said on Piers Morgan. Guys, I literally just woke up just now. I have no idea what you guys are talking about. Yeah. God Tier says, hey, Mar, did you hear about South Dakota political figure who was attacked at the NSU football game? Guys said we got Charlie Kirk. You're next. Look it up if you could, please. People are sick, bro. People are sick, man. People are still celebrating. But I've seen a lot of people lose their jobs, though, for it. Iconic Mystery says, do you think there's going to be other arrests? I'm not sure the assassin acted alone. What do you think? Look, man, I'm open to more. I'm open to more evidence coming out and looking at all angles. Okay. At this point, I'm not ruling out anything. We know them boys are capable of doing a whole bunch of shit. So, Destiny is calling for more violence against conservatives. Now might not be the best time to collab with them. I mean, it would be a debate. Debating Israel-Palestine. That's what it would be. I think the topic's going to be who's a bigger barrier to peace, the Israelis or the Palestinians.
Confirmed to the BBC its delegation was the target of the attacks. The U.S. Embassy in Qatar issued an immediate warning to U.S. citizens there. We have seen reports of missile strikes occurring in Doha. The U.S. Embassy has instituted a shelter-in-place order for their facilities. U.S. citizens are advised to shelter in place and monitor social media for updates. So let's go now to CBS News foreign correspondent Remy Inocencio in London for us today. Remy, thank you for joining us. What can you tell us at this time?
Mugo, yeah, good to see you. Quickly developing here, we're getting fresh lines from Israeli military radio as to the details of how this operation unfolded. According to IDF radio.
Oh, and just so you guys know, the sale ends to jump into OSS for $1 tonight at midnight. So if you guys want to get in and, get in at a deal, because we are going to be reviewing, we're going to be finishing up the 9/11 documentary here soon. Get in now, only for $1. Code is J's did 9/11. We're on YouTube, so I don't want to say the full thing, but I pinned it in the chat for you guys. Okay? Get in while you guys can.
This operation has, in fact, been planned for several months. The IDF saying that over the course of the past several months through these...
And that makes it worse that they planned it for several months. That makes it way worse.
On again and these off again attempts for a ceasefire and for negotiations to release those hostages. They say that Hamas, quote, has shown more rigidity regarding the deal. And so Israel, again, a quote here, decided to accelerate the battle procedure. The operation, they say, involved 15 fighter jets that took part in the attack, 10 munitions that targeted within a few seconds. And they say that only one target was attacked and that their pilots all landed safely in Israel. Now, as I've said that, it appears also that Hamas is saying that something slightly different to Saudi media. They say that Israeli...
Yeah, I didn't watch the Candace thing. If you guys want, we can react to it a bit. I was talking with her a couple of days ago, so we can watch some of her stream if you guys want. It seems like a lot of you guys have been talking about it in the chat. I saw like the last 2 minutes of it when she was reading super chats. I didn't see what she was talking about, but we can definitely react to it if you guys want. Listen to her angle because she knows Charlie personally.
Warplane struck one house. It's the home of one of the leaders, one of the senior leadership members of Hamas. His name is Khalil al-Hayya. He's also been the chief negotiator in the ceasefire.
And just so you guys know, this is not the first time that Israel's killed negotiators, okay? Besides, obviously they try to kill Mashal and the other guy. And here's al-Hayya, right? These are like the top two dudes right now. But the guy that ran it before was this dude, Ismail Haniyeh, right? And how they got him was even crazier. They killed him in Tehran, chat. Literally, they killed him in Iran when he went there to go see the president inauguration. They assassinated him while he was there.
Fire and hostage negotiations. They say that they targeted his house as well as a nearby house, but it was his house that was specifically targeted, focused on. There are conflicting reports right now, Mugo, on whether he was killed, whether he was assassinated. Hamas says that he did survive that attempt, but other media say that he was, in fact, killed. There are reports out saying that there are other people, other Hamas leadership that were also in that house, talking about the most recent proposal coming out from Israel and from the United States. We do not know, and we cannot confirm any other names at this time, but it is understood that at least one name has been floated out there. And of course, we will get more names if and as they come.
And Rami, I understand we're still working.
Okay, so that's the general gist of it. Now let's go ahead and kind of see the general ramifications of the region with this.
Israel has crossed a new threshold. For the first time, its air force struck inside Qatar, targeting Hamas's political leadership in the heart of Doha. The operation, carried out jointly by the IDF and the internal security agency Shin Bet, was aimed at senior...
Shin Bet is their FBI equivalent, chat. Mossad is their external security, right? And intelligence apparatus, just like our CIA. And Shin Bet is their FBI.
Negotiators Khalil Al-Haya and Khaled Meshal, who were reportedly reviewing the latest U.S. ceasefire proposal. Both men survived, however.
And Trump gave them 24 hours to review it, which many believe was a ruse to get them in a position where they're together so they can be assassinated. This isn't the first time they've done this.
The strike instead claimed the lives of at least 5 mid-ranking Hamas officials, and with them, possibly the last serious channel for ceasefire negotiations in Gaza. For years, Qatar has been at the center of mediation. It's where deals were struck, hostages released, and ceasefire plans drafted. It's also...
Yeah, Qatar acts as like a middleman between hostile countries and the West, especially Israel and the United States.
Where the United States maintains Al Udeid, the largest airbase in the Middle East, home to thousands of American troops. This balancing act made Qatar indispensable, but now things have changed. Israel's attack has effectively killed the Gaza ceasefire talks, stripped U.S. security guarantees of value, and demonstrated that safe havens can no longer...
Now, this is really important for you guys to understand, right? So now the peace negotiations are off the table, right? So basically, since the negotiations are off the table, the bombing is continuing, right? Which is to the Israelis' favor. Then it's made it where are they protected? Does the country feel like it's protected in other Gulf states? No, right? Israel bombing them has basically removed the security parameter that they thought that they had, right? So this bombing has done way more than just like target these Hamas guys and fail. It had other diplomatic negative ramifications.
Longer be taken for granted. The emirate, in the crossfire of playing both sides, has become collateral. And
this is really disturbing because the thing you guys got to understand about the Gulf states, right? With places like, Qatar, UAE, Saudi Arabia, their people don't like the Israelis and their people don't like the West, okay? The people, right, the majority Muslim Arab population that live in these countries, they do not like Israel and they don't like the West because of what they've been doing when it comes to supporting the Israelis with occupation of Palestine, right? However, the monarchs understand that if you don't play nice with Israel and the United States, one of two things is going to happen. They're either going to run a coup and take you out of power, or you're going to have to be bribed. So they said, you know what? We might as well at least cooperate with these guys and still be able to run our countries rather than say, no, we oppose you guys and then eventually get taken out. And they've seen many dictators have this fate. Gaddafi, Saddam Hussein, right? Omar Bashir down in Sudan, civil war there, right? Between Khamenei and the other guy. Right, literally in a civil war between the two, different factions, a paramilitary group and the actual army of Sudan. right? So Lebanon, what's going on with them? Where they killed Hassan Nasrallah, but they still refuse to disarm Hezbollah. So the Gulf states are keenly aware of the fact that if you don't play nice with the West, it could lead to problems. But a lot of the times their people look at them like, you guys sold out. What the fuck? So the problem here is that the whole purpose of aligning with the United States and Israel is security. Okay? That is why you align with these people in the first place. So for the Israelis to attack them and defeat the purpose as to why they're selling out in the first place is incredibly counterproductive and puts them in a very weird spot. Because now it's like you're selling out for what? Right? So, so this has put them in a very strange and awkward position diplomatically.
Interestingly, the Hamas meeting itself was initiated by Trump, who urged the group to accept terms for ending the conflict.
Yes, he gave them 24 hours. And this is not the first time that the United States and Israel have used diplomacy, right, feigned diplomacy, to conduct an attack. If you guys remember, and shout out to my guy, Cub Cube, for joining in. If you guys remember, right, the Israelis and the United States feigned diplomacy with Iran. They had a meeting set up for Qatar on like a weekend, like Saturday. Steve Witkoff was supposed to go meet the Iranians in Qatar. What happened? The Israelis fucking started bombing Iran with Operation Rising Lion. They activated Mossad assets. They took out air defense. They were behind enemy lines. They bombed all their nuclear facilities. They killed several generals, and they also killed several scientists, nuclear scientists, all in one day, right? It was literally probably the worst attack Iran's ever had in their history. It was like a Pearl Harbor event because it all happened in one shot. The Israelis did a fantastic job of attacking the Iranians in one fucking hard blitz. And that's how the Israelis come. Mossad assets activate. The Mossad assets use drones that they assembled in fucking country. So that means that they had been in Iran for months, staging and preparing for this attack. Once they got activated, they destroyed Iran's many air defense systems, jammed radars. While this was happening, the Israeli Air Force flew into Iran utilizing Syrian and Azerbaijan airspace and shot missiles into Iran. These missiles took out the remaining air defense as well as precision strikes that killed generals in their apartments as they were having dinner and killed scientists, nuclear scientists, right? And the Air Force was able to have air dominance for several days because these Mossad assets literally crippled their air defense in country. And they were doing this all in tandem with each other, right? Really smart and powerful operation. Got to give credit where it's due. It was a big success. But as you guys know, 18 hours later,
Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, Tel-Aviv. This is what you get for all your evil deeds. Boom, boom, boom.
and them missiles started raining down. Within 24 hours, they started hitting back Tel Aviv and Haifa, right? And the war lasted for almost 2 weeks. And as the days progressed, it became harder and harder for Israel to defend itself because Israel relies heavily upon its air defense system. The David Sling, Iron Dome, the Arrow, and the THAAD that we gave them. And on top of that, other countries were also assisting with shooting down the missiles. Okay? But that's why Trump bombed Fordo to effectively end the conflict, because the Israelis could not continue the air defense against Iran's enormous ballistic missile program. But that just gives you guys a quick little recap of that.
The timing has fueled allegations that the offer was never meant as a genuine step towards negotiation, but rather as a way to
But yeah, that's an example of what I mean, guys, where, you know, that's an example of where the U.S. fake diplomacy and used it to sneak attack.
bait senior Hamas officials into one place and eliminate them on the spot. Hamas has since accused the United States of being an accomplice in the Doha
Some dude said it was a 6-day war, bro. You're an idiot, dude. Why do they call it the 12-day war then, retard? Holy shit, you're dumb.
attack. There has been little coverage of this angle, though. Of the 97 media outlets that reported on
Why is it called Operation Rising Lion? Because they were hoping that the Iranian people would rise up and overthrow their government, and it backfired. It failed.
it, nearly
Good question, but that's why they call it Operation Rising Lion.
half were right-leaning. Such imbalance is dangerous. It risks distorting public perception. To stay on top of things, I use
Okay. We'll watch some of Candace's interview, guys.
outlets often miss due to biased reporting. Percent panel, Iran and Israel within just a few months. Distinction of being bombed by both Iran and Qatar now holds the unusual distinction of being bombed by both Iran and Israel within just a few months. For reference, on June 23rd, Iran targeted Al Udeid airbase
And this was after Trump bombed Fordo. So that's how Iran responded, was by bombing America's military bases there. But they telegraphed it, and the United States was able to shoot down the missiles and everything else like that. It was a symbolic gesture saying, look, we can defend ourselves, but we're not going to escalate.
base in retaliation for a US strike on its nuclear facilities. However, Tehran had telegraphed the attack in advance, giving Qatar and the United States time to prepare and minimize damage or casualties.
And that's what's called the symbolic strike, guys. So if they hit you, right, but you don't necessarily want to escalate to the point where it's a full-on war, you let them know that you're gonna retaliate, you telegraph it, let them prepare their defenses, and it's a way for you to attack them back without escalating and saving face. Military strategy. Iran does this all the time, as many other countries do.
This time, with the Israeli strike, the signals were far less clear. According to the White House, US forces observed Israeli jets heading toward the Gulf, and Washington was only officially informed after the operation was already underway. The Trump administration claims it then relayed a warning to Doha, but Qatari officials insist no such message was received, or at least not in.
And this is where things get confusing because no one really knows who knew what at what time. Everybody's exercising a bit of, plausible deniability, as we know that's a common in the government.
in time.
Also, guys, do me a favor, got 3,400 plus you guys in here. Smash that like button for me.
These conflicting accounts raise more questions than answers. The official story makes little sense. To reach Doha, the Israeli F-35s would have had to cross Jordanian airspace, then Saudi airspace, before finally launching long-range over-the-horizon missiles from a safe distance. That's roughly 1,700 kilometers one way, or 3,400 kilometers for the whole round trip. Even with long-range missiles, the distance would have been too great for the jets to bridge on their own. Moreover, because this was a stealth mission, the F-35s would not have employed external fuel tanks, which would have limited their operational range to about 2,100 kilometers. This estimate doesn't even account for the extra fuel burned in aerial maneuvers or the payload the aircraft would be carrying. All of this means that at some point on the return flight, the Israeli jets must have been refueled mid-air, most likely by tankers operated by US Central Command.
So that creates even more questions.
Coincidentally, at the very time of the Israeli strike, a British Voyager tanker took off from Qatar, circled in the skies for several hours, and
So this also raised a lot of speculation. So the Brits and America were involved.
then returned to base. This has led to speculation that Britain had refueled the Israeli jets. The problem, however, is technical. The Voyager tanker relies on a probe and drogue system, in which a
Oh, Akechi Goro, thank you so much for the 5 gifted, by the way. Appreciate you. And then T-Fred31 also gifted a sub. Thank you so much.
cone at the end of a hose connects to the receiving aircraft. The Israeli F-35A, by contrast, requires a flying boom system, which is a rigid arm extending from the tanker. The two systems are not compatible, making it highly unlikely that the British tanker was involved. Meanwhile, according to the Wall Street Journal, the Israeli jets avoided Arab airspace altogether by flying over the Red Sea on the opposite side of the Arabian Peninsula.
Now, just let me explain this real quick, guys. Israel using Arab airspace from Saudi Arabia or Jordan allies to attack Qatar is considered a big problem. Okay? And it's looked at as damn near a betrayal. So, this is why airspace is so important to figure out where it happened. Like, for example, when the Israelis attacked Iran, there's heavy speculation that they used Azerbaijan airspace. The reason why that's a problem is because Azerbaijan is an ally of Iran. So using an ally's airspace to attack them is nuts from a diplomacy perspective. So there's all these delicate diplomatic circumstances that you need to account for when you conduct these operations.
From Qatar. From there, they reportedly launched air-launched ballistic missiles that arced into low Earth orbit before striking Doha. However, even in this setting, the Israeli missiles would have been detected by America's space-based infrared sensors. And also, the distance would still have been too great for the jets to complete without support. Case in point, the Israeli operation, whether through Saudi airspace or the Red Sea, must have been picked up by the United States and even approved by it. Even stranger is the silence of Qatar's air defenses. Doha possesses some of the most advanced systems money can buy, including
They buy their weapons from us.
Patriot, THAAD, NASAMS, and Skynex batteries, along with a fleet of F-15Es, Rafales, and Eurofighters. These assets should have detected incoming aircraft and missiles long before they reached the capital, yet none were activated. The absence of any response suggests that the Qatari leadership, like the Trump administration, may have been aware of the operation from the outset and, whether by pressure or circumstance, had little choice but to let it proceed. There is, however, no way to verify any of this. We can only speculate based on the information currently available. Publicly, Qatar's Ministry of Foreign Affairs condemned the Israeli strike as a violation of the country's sovereignty, a position that was echoed by several other Gulf Arab states. Even if the strike missed its intended targets, it delivered a clear message. When Israel perceives a threat to its security, it shows little regard for red lines or diplomatic fallout and places.
And that defeats the purpose and has red-pilled a lot of the Arab world. Okay? Because it's very obvious, guys, now that, and I've told you guys this before, look, I don't want to say I'm glad that they bombed the Qataris, but I've been telling you guys for months that the Israelis are a cowboy fucking rogue state that do whatever they want, whenever they want, and no one can tell them shit. Okay? Bombing an American ally puts us in a precarious situation, puts Qatar in a weird situation, and hurts our relationship with them. But the Israelis don't give a fuck about any of this. And this is the country that we give the most aid to, by the way.
Once considered.
Marco fucking Jubio's over there right now as we speak, chat, trying to figure out how to clean up the mess. Imagine you got a badass little kid, right? Goes to school, starts fights, and instead of you bringing him home and disciplining him, you go meet with him and figure out how you're going to clean up the problems that they created at school. Bruh. That is literally the American-Israeli relationship. They do what they want, spoiled little brat, and we got to clean up their mess, bro.
Considered safe havens can no longer be taken for granted.
This is a big fucking deal, chat. Very big deal. And I think in the future, I think this has red-pilled a lot of the Arab world. Even the Gulf states who thought that they were fucking safe, this has red-pilled a lot of them. And this is going to make a lot of them go closer to China, go closer to Russia. Saudi Arabia's already started buying weapons from other world powers, right? Because when they buy weapons from us, we still have some degree of control over their weapons and how they use them. So what's going to happen is these Gulf states are going to diversify their weapon cache from other countries to not be 100% reliant upon the United States, because Israel just demonstrated that if they attack you, you're not going to get the protection that you sold out your country for, by the way.
The Israeli ambassador to the United States underscored the point bluntly. If we didn't get them this time, we'll get them next time. This suggests that Israel may be prepared.
And Naftali Bennett went on, I think, the news yesterday, and they asked him, are you going to attack the Qataris again? Attack a sovereign country again? And he said, we will attack wherever terrorists are at. What? So what does that mean? That means basically, if the Israelis label you a terrorist, which they do to everybody, by the way, you're not safe. They'll attack you wherever you are, even if it undermines diplomacy.
Prepared to carry out assassinations in other countries across the region.
Former Prime Minister of Israel said this yesterday during an interview.
Despite the risk of diplomatic backlash that could further isolate it internationally. At the behest.
All right, guys, we'll react to the Candace stuff. Give me a timestamp, chat. I'll do that last. I will cover Kash Patel, then we'll cover Candace last. Give me a timestamp you guys want me to start from.
Of the United States and implicitly Israel, Qatar began hosting Hamas in 2010. The idea.
Okay, now, also, it's important for you guys to realize that the leaders of Hamas have been in Qatar for a very long time, right? Damn near 15 years. And the reason why is because obviously they can't live in the West Bank or Gaza or anything. They'd be killed immediately. So one of the few places they can seek refuge is in Qatar.
Was to create a safe place where Israeli and Hamas officials could hold talks during times of conflict. Doha has continued to play this role during the Gaza.
Now, Naftali Bennett also said yesterday, when I saw that interview, he said that Doha is a terrorist hotbed, right? So what does this mean? This means that depending on how the Israelis feel that day, they can always use and justify attacking Qatar and Doha especially, saying it is a terrorist hotbed and a terrorist headquarters, and they plan terrorist attacks like October 7th from there. So we have the right to attack them.
War, with leaders such as Khalid Mashal and Khalil al-Hayya often based in the city. In recent years, however,
Ismail Haniyeh was there too, and they killed him in Iran. When he went to go visit the president for their inauguration last July 31st, when they assassinated him, and they blew up his room with his bodyguard and killed him. Direct strike.
Qatar's mediation has had diminishing returns. Both the United States and Israel have grown more frustrated with the negotiations and, as a consequence, more critical of Qatar's role and its ties to Hamas. As early as October 2023, Qatari diplomats were already in talks with.
All right, give me the timestamp on the Piers Morgan interview, guys, if you guys want me to check it out. I'll look at that too. We'll quickly go through Kash in this.
With their American counterparts about whether to scale back their ties with Hamas after the hostage negotiations. The discussion showed that Doha was feeling the pressure and beginning to view its relationship with Hamas as a liability as much as an asset. Doha did achieve some diplomatic success though, most notably.
And just so you guys know, Qatar is basically a vassal state for the United States. Let's be honest. All these Gulf countries, bro, guys, they're rich because America allows them to be rich by utilizing their markets to sell their energy. But other than that, they don't really have much economic stimuli, right? And another thing you guys need to understand, this is a big reason why Saudi Arabia is modernizing, by the way, okay? Saudi Arabia realizes that they rely upon the United States for protection and for commerce too much. So what Saudi Arabia is trying to do is they're trying to build a tourist industry. This is why they're creating, WWE events. This is why they are opening clubs. This is why they've loosened laws against alcohol restriction, This is why they let women drive now. They allowed women to drive in 2018. But a lot of these Gulf states are trying to find other ways to create revenue that isn't dependent upon their energy.
Notably in November 2023, when a temporary ceasefire allowed more than 100 Israeli hostages to be released. Another truce followed in January 2025, but it
Yeah, the diplomacy definitely had some breakthroughs, right? There were a couple of hostage negotiations where both parties got a lot of people back.
collapsed in 2 months. Since then, negotiations have ground to a halt. Israeli leaders, including Netanyahu, have become increasingly outspoken, accusing Doha of failing to put sufficient pressure on Hamas to free the remaining hostages. By November 2024, Qatar's role as mediator had reached a breaking point. Doha suspended its efforts, arguing that neither Hamas nor Israel was negotiating in good faith. However, under pressure from the incoming Trump administration,
Okay, look, it's very simple, guys. Okay, and I've heard this from several sources, to include journalists from the Middle East. All right, as you guys know, I'm on Twitter. I'm tapped in, right? Because I go into spaces and I'll be in there. Sometimes I'll be in there silently listening. Right? They'll be talking in Arabic. Right? So, the bottom line is this, and it's amazing how American media doesn't cover this. But when it comes to the negotiations and why the war will not end, the responsibility falls squarely on the Israelis. And I'll tell you why. Hamas has already offered to give all the hostages back in exchange for two things. Number one, a withdrawal of all IDF troops, and then two, a permanent ceasefire. The Israelis refuse, because the way the Israelis look at it is, we're only negotiating with you to get the hostages back, but we want to eliminate you, period. But Hamas has already conceded to relinquishing power. They've conceded to potentially leaving it to a whole other organization. The main thing is they want a permanent ceasefire and withdrawal of the troops. But since we know that the Israelis are more concerned with taking over the Gaza Strip for commercial and financial purposes, they will not agree to this. Okay? So don't believe what any of this media fucking tells you in the West. Do not believe it. Okay? And this is where it's so important to get media from other places that are not Western dominated. And it's amazing because when I look at Fox, I look at CNN, whatever, no one ever talks about this. They never talk about what's the actual hang-up. That is the hang-up, chat. Again, permanent ceasefire, withdrawal of all IDF troops. The Israelis refuse. That is what's holding this all up. And this is why, actually, so many people in Israel are protesting the government so hard. Because they know that all Netanyahu has to do is end the war and they'll have their people back. But since he wants to occupy the Strip and take it over and get the Palestinians out of there, he refuses to agree to that. This is why they're protesting so aggressively in Israel. Guys, there's protests like damn near every day, by the way, in Tel Aviv. You know, no one ever shows that shit, but as you guys know, I watch a lot of alternative media. But that is the real reason why this conflict is still going on. Israel will sit there and lie in Western media and say, oh, all they have to do is surrender their arms and give the hostages back and this war will be over. No, that's not true. That's not true whatsoever. That is not true whatsoever. It's actually the contrary. If Hamas was to give all the hostages back, Israel would continue to bombard them and still get them out of the Gaza Strip. So Hamas does not want to give up the only piece of leverage it has to secure a withdrawal and a permanent ceasefire. That is the real hang-up, chat. That is the real hang-up. How do I know this? I was on a Twitter space when the Qatar got bombed last week. I was on Twitter spaces all day, right? Listening in anonymously here, jumping in with my real account here, listening here, right? Some dumbass says speculation, not facts. Shut the fuck up, dude. Shut the fuck up. Stupid ass C-Wigs 589 nigga, bro. Shut the fuck up, bro. Hey, when niggas that don't know shit try to tell me what the fuck it is. So, as I was in there were a couple of journalists that are that live in Qatar, right? And these guys interviewed members of Hamas, all right? They actually interviewed these guys, these higher-ups. And these guys showed them the paperwork of what the Israelis wanted versus what they wanted, right? The terms. And pretty much the bottom line is, those are the things that are holding up the deal. Israel's reluctance to pull out of the Strip and have a permanent ceasefire. So, yeah.
Qatar resumed its role the following month, a case of damned if you do and damned if you don't. Now, the Israeli attack has made the chances of a ceasefire even smaller. Hamas is likely to harden its position, while Doha faces growing pressure to expel the group's leadership in order to limit US criticism and avoid further Israeli strikes. With negotiations already stalled, Hamas has little incentive to engage on Israel's terms, and mediation is likely to shift to Egypt and the United States, though neither has the leverage needed to pressure Hamas into a deal. Meanwhile,
Yeah, the Egyptians are going to be even worse. The Egyptians are basically allies of Israel, if we're going to be honest. Thanks to the 1978 Camp David Accords.
for Qatar, the risks are growing. Hosting Hamas's political bureau without serving as a mediator makes the country a more vulnerable target, even if Israeli strikes remain limited compared to its campaigns in Lebanon and Syria. All this makes it increasingly likely that Doha will expel the Hamas leadership, which means the Gaza conflict will continue for the foreseeable future as Israel expands its military operations in the Strip. As for the United States, its vast military presence in Qatar has not translated into reliable protection. US security guarantees have thus been rendered meaningless. Twice in the past year, first during Iran's missile strike and now during Israel's airstrike, Washington has been either unable or unwilling to defend Qatar's airspace. And so, as Doha steps back from its role as mediator, it could consider reaching out to new security partners such as Turkey, while at the same time seeking closer accommodation with Saudi Arabia and the UAE. In 2017, during the Saudi and Emirati-led blockade on Qatar, Doha turned to Turkish rather than American troops to help forestall a possible invasion by its neighbors. Turkey has hundreds of troops in Qatar, and in the near future it might play a larger role in the country's air defense. Doha has little political weight to throw around. In matters of statecraft, it is so poor that all it has is money.
That's literally all it has in Al Jazeera. Okay. So that's the Qatar thing, guys. Obviously, huge thing that's going on. Let's go ahead. Did you guys let me read some of these chats, and then we're going to go ahead. Oh, yeah. Also, look at this shit. A bill has been introduced in Congress that would allow Marco Rubio to revoke the passports of U.S. citizens if they criticize Israel. This would be treason if passed. Bro, absolutely fucking nuts, bro. Marco Rubio, once again, proving why his real name is Marco Jubio. AKD says, I could have watched yesterday. My only question is, was it the Jays? Look, there's a compelling case. I'm waiting until all the evidence comes out. But I'm open to all theories. OUS says, YouTube tax, good evening, Myron and OSS. Thank you, bro. Thomas Rushmore says, hey, Myron, new here to the OSS. Welcome, bro. Random question, what time do you normally go to bed at night? I've been going to bed at 5 a.m. every day because I work better at nighttime. Everyone is telling me that's terrible. Yeah, bro, I go to sleep. I sleep during the day. My sleep schedule's cooked, too. Excuse the ignorance and loaded question, but hypothetically, if Israel achieves all of its goals, then what? They'll be the hegemony in the Middle East, and they will no longer need to be under our auspice, and then they will go ahead and betray us in the future. That's what will happen. Kron says, Myron Gaines, breaking news. Israel's launched their military ground operation into Gaza. They've been had their ground operation, bro. BJJ man says the only reason the Qatari F-15s didn't fire on the missiles is because they were ordered not to. Therefore, Qatar let it happen. And the question is why? Well, we know why. They're cucked. BJJ man says, Myron, I believe Qatar knew about this and looked over the other way, so I always just watch aircraft on multiple professional aviation trackers. I don't know, bro, because if Qatar knew, there's no way I would see them allowing the Israelis to bomb them the way that they did. They wouldn't better off with like, a clandestine intelligence operation on the ground with special forces than allowing an airstrike like that. It's incredibly embarrassing to get hit with an airstrike, guys. I don't think you understand diplomatically what that looks like. It signifies weakness, ineptitude, all kinds of negative things. So if Qatar wanted to be on board, let's assume Qatar was on board, right, in this dream scenario. Let's say Qatar was on board to allow the Israelis to attack them to kill these Hamas leaders. Doing it via airstrike is the worst way to do it. It makes Qatar look the worst. So the best way for Qatar to be able to do it while maintaining some semblance of saving face would be to allow Mossad operatives or some type of intelligence apparatus to come in and assassinate them surreptitiously. Okay? So if Qatar was on board, there's no way they would allow it to be done this way. Because you guys can see, on the world stage, it's incredibly embarrassing. Kool-Aid Assassin, Myron, did you see Jubio try to inconspicuously pass a bill? Yeah, I just covered it. Kool-Aid Assassin. OSS Mall says, yo, Myron, did you hear about the 50 states in Israel conference and also September 24, Israel going to blast 100 trumpets live on TV? No, I didn't hear about that. 18 hours after Rising Lion, Iran said, don't worry about it. Open your windows and look up. Heaven says, Myron, you're my new news source. Thank you for everything you do. I really appreciate you and pray for your safety. Upon hearing about Charlie's assassination, I immediately blamed them boys, especially once I heard Bibi give his condolences. So fake and gave me chills. Bright 3, welcome. Iconic Mystery. I'm worried this guy might escape the death penalty. Could some secret leftist sneak into the jury, keep his mouth shut, and either? Who knows? Zeba, Myron, I'm just saying, watch the Pierce interview before you commit to a debate. Okay, you guys got the timestamp for me? Never seen him act like this. Greg Gutfield estimates Jessica Tarlov after she mouths and accuses conservative not being caring about political violence. TJ refused to condemn the murder of Kirk and instead kept insisting that Trump needs to do it before he does. All right, let me look. Let me check this out. But yes, I saw the Marco Rubio stuff, dude. Super fucking cucked. But I honestly, I'm not shocked by anything. Oh look, see, look at this, guys. So Qatar hosts emergency summit as Arab Muslim leaders unite against Israel attack. I'm telling you, bro, this is gonna backfire in Israel's face. They didn't even kill the fucking Hamas leaders they wanted to kill, bro. So stay tuned on this Qatar thing, man. Though I don't think that their response is going to be like as aggressive to Israel. I'll tell you this: all the Gulf states are on notice. Israel's absolutely created a diplomatic nightmare for themselves later on. Qatar might not respond as aggressively, right? Which I don't think they are because they're pussies. But support of Israel in general is cooked, and this is absolutely going to hurt the Abraham Accords. As you guys know, the Abraham Accords are, a recognition treaty where Gulf state / Arab countries, Muslim majority countries recognize Israel. This has pushed back the Abraham Accords significantly. Hell, some countries might even pull out. We'll see what happens if the UAE pulls out, because they're also a Gulf state country. But yeah, man, they're definitely, over the past couple of days, I've been keeping up with this. They had a UN Security Council. They're planning to retaliate, all this shit. So we're going to see what's going to happen here in the next few days. I don't predict that the retaliation is going to be that bad, chat, to be honest with you guys. It's probably going to be super weak and be more symbolic. But that's not what Israel needs to be worried about. They need to be worried about the diplomatic fallout in general by having even their on-paper allies turn against them. That's what's really going to hurt them. Not the actual Qatar attack, but the diplomatic ramifications. So We'll see what happens. We will see what happens. I'll keep you guys posted on what goes on with Qatar. All right, let's go real quick to Kash Patel. Guys, I'm still waiting on the timestamps that you guys can give me for Candace.
When he testifies this week on Capitol Hill.
So Kash Patel's going to testify this week on Capitol Hill, guys, and I guarantee you this Charlie Kirk situation is going to come up. A lot of people didn't like his performance during it.
After some mistakes in his handling of Charlie Kirk's assassination investigation, conservative activist Chris Rufo posted this. It's time for Republicans to assess whether Patel is the right man to run the FBI, adding that he performed terribly in the last few days. So Patel prematurely announced the suspect was in custody. He also appeared to take credit for the FBI's release of images that ultimately led to the suspect's arrest. Here's how Utah Governor Spencer Cox sees it.
This was a co-lead operation. So the FBI was co-lead with the state. We worked very closely together. I think Director Patel would tell you it was flawless. It was everybody just trying to decide, is this a good idea? The reasons to release it, I think, are pretty obvious, right? It makes it easier.
Now, I would say the two biggest things that they're going after Kash for is the premature tweeting saying we got the guy in custody, right? That is one of the big reasons they people have been criticizing him quite a bit. So hold on, chat.
For lots of people to see it and maybe find someone.
Group chat is back. I wanted to bring this up because these questions were sort of coming from inside the house, so to speak, and we were pointing out Rufo's tweet in particular because it was not just some flyby post of like, this guy is bad. It was a long explanation of why he thinks people should assess this. What do you think is happening with Patel? We were talking about the fact that he wasn't on the Sunday shows this weekend.
Right. The White House has specifically asked Utah Governor Spencer Cox to sort of be the face of the investigation, but also just the point person talking about this. But the Kash Patel criticism has been going on well before the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Largely because of Epstein and other just, there's a lawsuit against the FBI for the termination of some key employees. That's part of it. But the rank and file has been growing increasingly dismayed by
there's a lawsuit by these former employees.
But I think the Epstein thing is probably much more of a...
That's definitely hurt as well, the Epstein situation. But again, I've told you guys this before, and a lot of Americans don't understand this. When it comes to the Epstein debacle, that is not just an FBI problem. That is an entire intelligence apparatus problem. I think it's Tulsi Gabbard that should be getting way more fucking heat for the Epstein debacle than the FBI, because she oversees the entire intelligence community, which is precisely what people want to know.
Of a challenge for him. But look, he's going to appear before a House committee on Wednesday, I believe, and that is going to be a central issue. I'm skeptical, even though at the White House I've heard people sort of not thrilled with his leadership. But
well, I can give you more than that.
Yeah, he shouldn't have tweeted that stuff saying that we got him twice. That's what fucked him up.
Here's Steve Chung.
And look, I see both perspectives, right? So on one end, Kash Patel vowed to make the FBI more transparent, right? But on the other end, you do have some degree of professional responsibility with reporting accurate information during a wild time. So good intentions, fumbled activity. Simply put, right? I'll give Kash credit that he wanted to be more transparent with the FBI. Him and Bongino wanted to do that. But in an effort to be more transparent, jumped the gun, gave out bad information. But just me being honest here, right? Because I'm one of the few people that's actually done a real investigation federally before and understands, locating fugitives, all this other stuff. Them getting him in 33 hours is wildly impressive, chat. All right? Like, I don't think enough people give them credit for that. Catching the guy in 33 fucking hours is wild. Okay? Now, I know what some of you might say. Well, Myron, they didn't catch him. He turned himself in. My rebuttal to that is, you're correct. He did turn himself in. But he turned himself in from the enormous amount of pressure that the FBI and law enforcement put on him. Keep in mind, guys, his father recognized him from the stills that the FBI released. Very important, right? The father recognized the pictures because you couldn't avoid it and confronted and said, hey, is this you? Then he finally confessed, right? So he did turn himself in, but he turned himself in after enormous pressure from law enforcement, right? Now, again, we know that there's other theories out there. We know that there's the Israeli angle, all this other stuff. But me talking specifically on this instance of catching a fugitive that was wanted in 33 hours is very impressive. Okay? It is. Regardless of him turning himself in. Typically, when people turn themselves in like that, guys, it means that you did a really good job of pressuring them where they felt like they couldn't run. Okay? So, though Patel fucked up a lot and made a lot of mistakes, they did a good job of creating pressure on him. So I'll give him credit for that. Yeah, dude, it's crazy how I got idiots in chat that don't understand how law enforcement works trying to tell me what the fuck it is. Incredible. You guys have never investigated a case in your life, never worked for the federal government in your life, trying to tell me, I don't agree. All right, bro. All right. Keep in mind that most criminal cases don't get solved. Okay? Most murder investigations do not get solved, chat. Okay? They do not get solved. So, again, in the grand scheme of things, having a suspect in custody in 33 hours is pretty fast.
Who's the White House comms director, he says anyone who doubts Patel's resolve and dedication.
Luke Brown says you don't know how it works, Myron? All right, bro. The fuck out of my chat, bro. Nigga trying to tell me how criminal investigations work. Yeah, I just have these things behind me for no fucking reason. Some fucking internet sleuth that's never put a set of handcuffs on anybody trying to tell me how it goes.
Especially when Charlie was such a close friend to him, is simply as using this extremely sad moment in a disgusting act of political gamesmanship.
Yeah, look, and the issues with Patel go back to his appointment to the job in the first place, right? Remember that the FBI director quit. Chris Wray should have had more time on his term, but he got out of the way because he knew he was going to be fired for Patel, who a lot of people thought was not the right person for the job to begin with. I do think.
Yeah, again, Patel made a lot of mistakes, right? Prematurely saying that he had the guy, all this stupid shit. But again, man, 33 hours, it's pretty fucking quick, guys, when most murder cases don't get solved, have a very low clearance rate.
I think that one of the things that Patel is going to need to explain, maybe even to the people on the Hill in this hearing, is on Wednesday, after Charlie Kirk was shot.
I'm being fair and impartial here, right? I know a lot of you guys don't like Kash Patel. Look, I think he does dumb shit too, to be honest with y'all. I don't think he's qualified to be FBI director, if I'm going to be all the way honest. I'd be a fucking better FBI director than him. And Bongino, to be honest. Because unlike those guys, I've actually done real criminal investigations before. Secret Service doesn't do criminal investigations. Kash Patel was an attorney. So I guarantee you I would do better than both of them. But, got to give credit where it's due. Catching a murder suspect in 33 hours is very fast when you compare it to average criminal investigations.
As Patel was putting out these tweets that were putting out information that was not correct, he was at a fancy restaurant in New York having dinner. He was at Rao's, right?
Yes, the Valhalla comment was very cringe as well.
Which is itself, I mean, if Kirk was his close friend, I've never had a close friend assassinated. It is a choice to then go to an exclusive restaurant in New York City and have some pasta.
Yeah, and I think to Jeff's point about some of the rank and file being very frustrated, Kash Patel seemed to come out and take a lot of personal credit for finding this suspect, when in reality, if you listen to Governor Cox, they feel as though it was a joint effort with the local law enforcement on the ground and the FBI. And then also, typically, when it comes to the FBI, it is such a bureau-first mentality. It's not an individual-first mentality. You typically are going to cite officers and investigators within the bureau, opposed to, sort of taking your own credit for it. Another thing that I'm watching, just the way that Kash Patel is managing his own phone and the FBI's social media is very curious. So to say, one, that you have a suspect in custody, and then to have the Utah local law.
Yeah, no, I know the guy's rage baiting, chat. That's why I got rid of him. I'm not even like rage baiters, bro. Like, I'm not even playing with y'all niggas no more. You guys are fucking annoying and you guys are cancer for chat. So it's fine. Do your rage bait somewhere else.
Enforcement say that there is still a suspect at large. Having the FBI have to scramble and come back out and say that they released the person, it was a very preemptive social media post that made the FBI look very disorganized. I also just caught recently he screenshotted something from Fox News citing FBI sources. In a very professional situation, you yourself as the FBI don't need to cite a news organization citing sources from within your bureau.
Right.
You just say
and
something
it gets at
yourself.
this issue of, like, as he's come in, he's brought the talents that the administration has appreciated, right? The loyalty, the ability to communicate. But has he done things within the ranks that actually are creating real problems for investigations?
Yeah, and like one of the things that we see in other investigations about other things in past administrations is that the Justice Department doesn't usually say that much. The FBI doesn't say that much for a while.
So it's kind of an unforced error.
This is part of why they don't, and it drives those of us in the reporting world crazy because we want to know more information. But sometimes the information is not verified or it's incorrect, and they're trying to hold it back until it goes public.
But again, the criticism of him was happening before the Charlie Kirk assassination, and I'm wondering now, talking to people, will this assassination and all the outpouring of Charlie Kirk.
All right, let's go ahead and check out Candace's stuff. What the fuck? Oh.
All right, you guys, we're going to jump right into this with no introduction. There's a lot that I would like to speak with you guys about. Can't wait to hear your feedback. A lot of lies that are being put out there, narratives that I would say are half-truths or just misrepresentations entirely. And I don't really see the reason for that. First and foremost, I'll let you know, last week was not a dream. Charlie Kirk, my friend, is dead. And he was publicly executed. I want to make that clear. Charlie Kirk was publicly executed before the world. And as we are all searching for answers, the ones that are being supplied to us are not making a lot of sense. And some people, I would say, are speaking too much, are speaking on behalf of other people. I don't like it. I will say something that I think brought the world a lot of relief, also, sadness. We were grieving with her, was when his wife, Mrs. Erica Kirk, addressed not just the nation, but the entire world. Her words were very powerful. And we just have a very brief portion of her remarks, which you should pursue in their entirety. But here she is.
If you thought that my husband's mission was powerful before.
And she got a lot of heat for doing this, saying that she's going to continue Turning Point. And I was like, why the fuck are people being weird? Like, to me, I look at it as like a wife continuing her husband's legacy. Like, that's what she's supposed to do. But, people are weirdos, man.
You have no idea. You have no idea what you just have unleashed across this entire country. In this world, you have no idea. You have no idea the fire that you have ignited within this wife. The cries of this widow will echo around the world like a battle cry. To everyone listening tonight across America, the movement my husband built will not die. It won't. I refuse to let that happen. It will not die.
TPC Film says, dumbasses watch dumbass people watch CSI and think they know more than an actual ex-Fed. Yeah, bro. Dude, some guys try to rage bait, bro. I just get them out of here, bro. Because guys like that, they're cancerous. They're cancerous. They undermine the quality of the show. They're just trying to rage bait. They're not here for actual real discourse or whatever. Just get them the fuck out of there. Alfonso says, Myron, just tuning in, not sure if you'll cover Piers Morgan, Andrew Tate interview. They're so-called the first 48 for a reason. Exactly. Myron, you think there's more than one person involved? It's definitely could be. Papa 7 says, facts, you got idiots in here calling you a dumbass for believing the government when you actually were literally a federal agent. Yeah, bro. That's why when people say that dumb shit, again, I can be critical of Kash on some things, but at the same time, understand things that he did well. Why? Because I actually used to do the job. I don't give a fuck what you say. Catching a suspect in 33 hours is fucking fast. Okay? Okay? Whether they turn themselves in or not is irrelevant. What matters is they put an enormous amount of pressure on him and his family to turn him in. The father saw the pictures, chat. That's what made him confront his son in the first place. So had it not been for the FBI releasing those pictures and putting an enormous amount of pressure, the reward for $100,000, this is pressure. Okay? This is what they want. When they release the photo, guys, they want one of two things to happen. Either A, identify the individual, or better yet, they turn themselves in. Okay? That is the goal when you put a picture out of a suspect. Ideally, you want them to turn themselves in. Because when they turn themselves in, you don't got to go serve an arrest warrant. You don't got to go looking for them. You don't got to have a manhunt. So some of you dumbasses in the chat saying, he turned himself in. Yeah, that's the fucking goal, idiot. That's the goal. That's why you do a full court fucking media press. Open up phone lines. Issue of a large reward of $100,000 plus. Blast this fucking picture all over the internet. Do press conferences. That's the goal, idiots. It is absolutely incredible to me how so many people that have zero fucking law enforcement experience, zero fucking ability to understand or comprehend how criminal investigations are done at a federal, state, and local level, trying to tell me that 33 hours, he turned himself in, bro. That is a low IQ, stupid fucking rebuttal. Did Kash make other mistakes? Absolutely. He should not have said that we caught the shooter. He should not have went ahead and then said it a second time. He shouldn't have said something so stupid at the press conference saying, I'll see you in Valhalla, when Kirk was a devout Christian. Right? Made a bunch of blunders. He didn't say anything at the first press conference. Retarded. He flew all the way out there to Utah, right? Which I understand why he would do that. But he could have went about it in a better way. So it showed ineptitude and weakness on his part. But criticizing him for catching him in 33 hours is stupid, quite frankly. Stupid. And any law enforcement professional will tell you guys that. Okay? So some of you niggas over here are keyboard warriors, never done a case in yourself, trying to tell me what's appropriate and what's fast enough, what's not fast enough, what's acceptable, what's not acceptable when it comes to catching people. And I'm here to tell you guys, putting out a bolo, putting out a high reward, and using the media is a strategy, a viable strategy, by the way, to get individuals to turn themselves in. That is actually the best case scenario than identifying them and trying to track them down and serving an arrest warrant. So anyway, it's fucking incredible to me how I got armchair investigators in here trying to tell me how a case is supposed to be run. Incredible. Incredible. Never wrote a fucking affidavit in your life. Never arrested anybody in your life. Never worked with the FBI in your life. You don't even know what a fucking 302 is. Trying to tell me 33 hours is not good enough. Shut the fuck up. Holy shit, dude. If you're going to be critical of the right shit. Know what you're talking about. And that's the problem also with the internet, a lot of the times, is people have the anonymity to hide behind their keyboards and pretend that they're someone that they're not with no professional fucking experience. Meanwhile, you got someone here that's actually done this shit for real. Telling me what it is? Get the fuck out of here. This is one topic that I will never concede on. Okay, people can sit there and say, Myron, you're cocky, you're really arrogant when it comes to law enforcement. Yeah, you're damn right. You're damn fucking right. Before I left the agency, I was one of the best fucking agents in the fucking country, FYI. I had a nationally recognized case before I left the agency. The case that I got a fucking Department of Justice award, the Attorney General award, the case that I got. You know how hard that is to get? Given by the Attorney General? That's across all the different agencies. A case that I worked on literally got the Attorney General award. I got right here, the Director's award for a case that I did. So, I walk it like I talk it. This is one topic that I will immediately tell you to shut the fuck up on if you say some dumb shit. There is, actually, matter of fact, I'll take it a step further. There is no one on the internet right now, at this point, no one that gives law enforcement commentary that knows more than I do. And you could take that to the fucking bank. I've seen the pundits they bring on CNN. I've seen the pundits they bring on Fox. I've seen the pundits they bring on all these fucking news channels. These niggas worked bullshit fucking cases when they're at the FBI. They were in a JTTF somewhere. They were in a fucking white collar crime squad, which, by the way, are the slowest fucking groups, by the way, FYI. They did counterintelligence. They don't do shit. Because I look into all these fucking pundits that they bring in. None of them do shit. Most FBI agents, to be honest with y'all, guys, might make one criminal arrest every 5 years. I've made 5 criminal arrests in a day.
Fatality.
Being on the southwest border as an HSI agent, bro, you're making arrests every day. You're serving warrants every day. You're doing controlled deliveries. You're fucking responding to the port all the time. So yes, I will tell you to shut the fuck up when it comes to this topic. There is no pundit on the fucking internet that I've seen that has more knowledge on this shit. I've done Title III intercepts. Most FBI agents never do that in their career. One of the hardest affidavits to draft up. And sometimes I got to give you bitch-ass new niggas a reminder of what I used to do before I did this shit. The reason why I speak so confidently about this is because I know what the fuck I'm talking about when it comes to this. And I think a lot of you guys that watch my earlier content on Fed 1811, and you guys have seen me give my predictions and everything else like that, I've been pretty damn accurate, right, on my predictions. So, yeah, when it comes to this shit, bro, yes, I will absolutely tell you to shut the fuck up. Some of you armchair retards.
Beautiful, powerful words. Charlie had just one wife.
A Title III is a wiretap. Listening to a phone or actively monitoring a telecommunication device real time. That's a Title III intercept.
What we got to see across this weekend is that there were so many people around the world, like she said, who were deeply moved by Charlie Kirk throughout their lives and, of course, have been deeply moved by this tragedy. And what she is describing there, that fire, a lot of us are feeling it. I am definitely feeling it. I had a very tough weekend, I will say this. My entire life, I've not been much of a crier. It is not my...
Someone said I got fired. Are you fucking stupid, bro? I resigned. I did not get fired. I resigned. Said this a million fucking times. Holy shit, man. This dude, some of these dudes in here are fucking stupid, bro. I can tell, look, I guess this is what happens when you get like new viewers that don't know the fucking, the background, which is why I guess we got so many retards in here. But yeah.
My choice emotion. I'm not a person who bursts into tears, and some people are like that. This weekend, I didn't just cry. I wept. I wept for Charlie, obviously. I didn't make it through the tribute to him on Friday. And for those of you who wanted to see me in a moment of weakness, that was delivered to you. Fair. Yeah, I watched my friend get shot in the neck. Yeah, that's what happened. I just want to say that he was publicly executed again before the world. The question is why, right? You know, when you are in a state of grief, you go through a lot of emotions, and I'm arriving right now at a lot of anger. The audacity of some people. It has taken much restraint and prayer, and I had to speak with a priest. I had to go to confession. These emotions that I am having, wanting to respond with Charlie in his own words, really. People that are coming forward and saying this is what he thought and this is how he should be remembered. It just feels really inappropriate to me. I didn't know what to do other than to scroll through messages between me and Charlie, regarding which there are a ton of them. And I kept going back and watching the many videos of us dancing to the song Power. And it felt appropriate to reach out to Ye, speaking about things, talking about his mode when he wrote the song. You know, when you wrote the song Power, why did we have it as our hype song? Because the song is about the ability to find it within yourself to become what you know you are capable of becoming inside of a matrix, when you just realize everything is dishonest, that everything is performative, that people are dishonest, that they are going to try to stop you from being great. In fact, it's the end of the song, the question that he asks at the end of the song, that's the most important. Ye asks, do you have the power to let power go? Do you have the power to say no to power? You know, I told you guys that Charlie was going through a spiritual transformation at the end, and all of the usual suspects were really angry that I hinted towards that. What do you mean? You're not allowed to say that. They were attacking me, trying to make me fearful, to speak out and speak about the things that I know. I'm not feeling very fearful right now. I am, like I said, very angry. And I found, Charlie's favorite portion of the song. I'll show you the text between him and I, because this feels very relevant right now. This is, again, lyrics directly from the song Power, but I just needed time alone with my own thoughts, got treasures in my mind, but couldn't open up my own vault. My childlike creativity, purity, and honesty is honestly being crowded by these grown thoughts. Reality is catching up with me. Taking my inner child, I'm fighting for custody with these responsibilities that they entrusted me. And that's a moment where he is really speaking about how hard it is. Like when you're saying, no, this is what I believe. And they say, you're not allowed to believe that. You feel like you are fighting for custody of yourself. And I want to be very clear that I believe, in fact, I know that towards the end, Charlie was fighting for custody of himself. I want to say that. I want to say that plainly. And there are lies that are being told and they need to be slapped down right now. There's one person who's been out there acting like he is a widow, just saying the absolute most, tweeting first about what happened to Charlie, following it minute to minute, and doing hits in a foreign country, right? Like making time to do hits on Fox News, 2 of them. Bibi Netanyahu who's fighting, I think, like an 84 front war with everyone, made a lot of time for Charlie Kirk. You would have thought they were the best of friends, as close as him and Trump were. But I will say I don't recall Erica mentioning Bibi Netanyahu in her speech. The way he's presenting it is like he was this is just the worst loss for him, but I don't think that is the truth. In fact, I know for a fact that he is misrepresenting some things that happened there towards the end. So let's at first listen to what Bibi Netanyahu just one day, less than 24 hours after Charlie died, what Bibi Netanyahu had to say on Fox News. Take a listen.
We're just heartbroken. Myself, my wife, my family, my son actually, on his 2019 visit to Israel, had lunch with him and his wife, Erica. We're shattered first as human beings because a great human being has been taken from us. Was an extraordinary friend. He said, he wrote me a letter on May 2nd this year. He said, one of my greatest joys as a Christian is advocating for Israel and forming alliances to defend Judeo-Christian civilization. A few weeks before the tragedy yesterday, I called him and I spoke to him and I said, please come to Israel. I invited him to Israel. And sadly, that visit will not take place. But he was a defender of our common Judeo-Christian civilization. He was unbelievably excited to walk in the footsteps of Jesus here. He valued our bond, the bond between America and Israel. He did so many things to defend free speech. He had his truth. He stood up for it. But he said, you can come and debate me. He invited that debate. He certainly didn't invite the violence, the horrible violence that tried to silence him. And this is a worldwide problem. The people on the extremes, the Islamists, the radical Islamists, and their union with the ultra progressives, they often speak about human rights. They speak about free speech, but they use violence to try to take down their enemies. Whether it's President Trump, who's been almost assassinated twice, or they try to kill me here too. But they got Charlie Kirk, and it's just heartbreaking.
Who is they, BB? Who is they who got Charlie Kirk? We don't have to actually speak conspiracies.
Real quick, Barnum says, I'll D for the cause. No, Barnum, need you alive. First time tipper from Naval Aviator. He thinks Patel is stupid. Fine. Okay, let's see here. Sirhan being point blank with a gun and a patsy confirmed by RFK is fucking insane and should be more well known. I imagine these covert ops not everyone knows, okay? Dark Knight Kevo, it's crazy how the chat questions your ability when you work on real-time cases for HSI and have the audacity to talk shit. Hello, low IQ people in the chat, especially on YouTube. But more than an hour, cut it. Yeah, I mean, guys, I'm going to be getting off here very soon because it's about to be 8:30 and we got Money Monday. But, you know, yeah, dude, stupidity like this makes me it's clear that we got some new viewers here that don't know the history, which I guess is good. But yeah, people are stupid, bro. And it's very obvious that they're just trying to troll, so I'm just ignoring them or getting them the fuck out the chat. Al Boys, would you be open to going to Tyler's court dates if the case goes to trial? Yes, I will. Emma, what do you think about Obama and Biden not resigning the Smith-Munn Act, allowing media to lie and spread, making these crazy lefties? Interesting. Naval Aviator, proposal for NHH Bunny when them boys do some fuck shit. I'm trying to learn about being against Israel. You're anti-Hamas, anti-genocide, right? What's your stance on Hamas? Well, that's a long story, bro. You have to watch another episode, but I'm glad that you're here. Keep watching the content. I've done a whole bunch of stuff on this. Cash says Erica Kirk is getting backlash because they want us to be afraid. I agree. Obsidian says, Myron, what do you think about Discord coming out and saying that the shooter didn't plan anything on Discord, and then the FBI saying they planned and confessed to his group in Discord? Think that group can be held as a complicit? It depends, because from what the reporting I get is that he was basically joking around, you know, kind of pseudo taking responsibility for it, saying, oh yeah, it was my doppelganger, shit like that. But as far as like explicitly using Discord to plan the attack, you can make the argument no. But there's definitely clues in there, or not clues, pieces of evidence in there that the feds are going to use and the police are going to use. Myron, what would you have done if someone were giving you this case, like protocols and questioning? There'd be a lot of shit I'd do. Too long to probably cover right now. Killer Kane says, you guys take the conspiracy levels to another point. There's no evidence suggesting international intelligence played any part. Y'all got to chill with that shit, let the evidence come out. Look, I'm looking at all different things. I'm not going to rule out intelligence agencies because that's what they want. But yes, I do agree that, you know, we got to wait for all the evidence to come out.
I'm just wondering, because you said a lot there, but it really sounded like it was about Bibi trying to establish a narrative that we saw reinforced by a lot of people, that, you know, Charlie kind of made it almost sound like he died for Israel. I mean, Trump's account even tweeted out a photo of Charlie and an American flag and also an Israeli flag, a bit of AI used, you know, like this is just who Charlie was. He says Judeo-Christian values. He spoke to him 2 weeks ago. Again, you would think he was busy fighting this 97,000 front war, but no, he's letting you know that he just randomly picks up the phone and calls Charlie Kirk and invites him to Israel? Why would Bibi do that? It seems like maybe there's a little more to the story. No, there definitely is a little bit more to the story. First and foremost, that letter he is holding up, he is severely misrepresenting. Those sentences are real, but I am calling upon Bibi Netanyahu, the dear friend to Charlie Kirk, to publish the letter's entire contents. Like, don't start with just 2 sentences. Publish the entire thing. You're holding it. I'm saying you're severely misrepresenting the contents, that in May, Charlie was concerned about Israel and their influence on American politics and how they were pushing things that he felt were in conflict with his beliefs, free speech here in America. Bibi's holding it up like Charlie just in May said, hey, you know what? I just want to write a love letter to Israel. That's how it was presented. Would you guys agree? That's not how it happened. Now, regarding that phone call and that invite, that also needs to be contextualized. And I'm going to do that. But first, Skylar, can we bring in a clip of Charlie from a month ago speaking about the kind of pressure that he was under? Because I think that will also help to further contextualize this. Take a listen.
I'm an American citizen. Yes, I want
Yeah, this is when he was talking with Megyn Kelly.
Israel to win. Yes, I'm a Christian. But like some of the mess, and you've seen how I've been treated, Megyn, by some, not all, by some.
No, it's very irritating.
It's
been
almost
so
as if
unfair. They were coming after you after a turning point for, among other things, that you had Dave Smith there. Dave Smith is allowed to criticize Israel. You had both sides. The Israeli side was overrepresented.
No, you're not allowed to. It's even worse than that. Again, I just want to repeat for the 5th time. I love Israel. I want Israel to win. But my moral character is now being put into question, Megan. Not my decisions, not like, hey, are you doing this? Is it smart or is it dumb? But no, I am a bad person if I do this.
Yeah, it's all or nothing with the Israel lobby, bro. It's literally all or nothing, dude. All or nothing with them.
And I could go, I mean, you saw it, Megan. It was trending on Twitter, thousands of tweets and text messages. And if I were to be charitable and generous, I will say the people that are attacking me are in a hyper paranoid state.
And just so you guys know, man, sale ends tonight. Use the code Jays did 9/11. Literally ends tonight. Okay. So get in there while you guys can. Join the OSS Army. Link is below.
Because they're at war, and war tends to make things black and white, and you're a hammer looking for a nail. So I'm trying to be charitable, Megan. Literally, I'm trying to cut as much slack as I can, right? Like, okay, what would it be like if all of a sudden I'm starting to see a pattern of behavior similar to what my grandparents saw in 1930s Germany online? How would I behave? So that's like my charitable kind of overcompensation spirit. At the same time, I'm like, but it's not defensible to be dumb, right?
No, it's not defensible to be dumb, and he was under an increasing amount of pressure.
Quick word. Guys, we're going to be stepping it up with the OSS, but only for the guys that are the real active supporters. So this is how it's going to go. We're going to start giving away merch bundles once a month. All kinds of merch can be given away to you guys for supporting. Also, we're going to be doing call-in parts of the show where members of the OSS Army can go in and call into the show and give their takes on certain different types of topics, whatever we're talking about on that particular day. Also, we're going to start doing shows, guys, where we're going to do parts that are only OSS members so that we can actually say what we want to say, put the memes up on screen that we want to put up, and not have to worry about censorship. Unfortunately, even on regular platforms, we can still get clipped and put out of context and still be labeled for cancellation. All the uncensored stuff that we want to do, it's going to be on the OSS members portion only. Now, I know what you guys are wondering. Oh my God, Myron, no, I can't afford it. No problem. It's going to be only $1 to get in, guys, for the first month, and it goes to regular dues price. So get in there. And the code, guys, is Jays did 9/11. It's pinned, okay? It's pinned at the top of every chat. If you're watching on Kick, YouTube, Rumble, it's all there. So it's pinned. Get in. Close at midnight. We're going to be covering 9/11. We're in the middle of finishing up the documentary, The Empire Unmasked. Ryan Dawson is doing a re-release of the documentary early October. So, yeah. Get in now, guys. We're watching that documentary. I might watch it tonight, honestly. I might do a night train and watch it tonight with you guys.
Not just people.
And we'll finish up this, too, with Candace, because obviously, as you guys know, she was good friends with Charlie. So we might react to this tomorrow as well.
Telling him, oh, well, you know, I'm upset with who you're inviting, but flat out telling him that he was not allowed to invite certain people to his events. They were threatening to pull out money. Charlie was getting a lot of really nasty text messages, and many of them pertaining to Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens. But Tucker Carlson was really the focus when it came to America Fest. How could Charlie allow these debates about Israel to take place? How could he allow Dave Smith, who, by the way, is Jewish, how could how could Charlie allow this other position to meet the stage? Because obviously when people start to hear
Yeah, the Zionists don't want to debate, guys. They don't want to debate because they know that their position is a losing position. Guys, if the code isn't working for you, that means that you've tried to use a code before or you've used the code before and it won't work. That is why. So if you've used one of the codes before to get in for $1, it won't work a second time. So good job. You just exposed yourself.
Debates, what Dave Smith is saying sounds so rational, but it was up to Charlie to not allow those things to happen. And that amount of pressure towards the end, as you see that conversation he had with Megan was just a month before he lost his life, really, I would say, reached a pinnacle of sorts on the matter of what Tucker Carlson actually said on that stage. Tucker Carlson, while he was on that stage at Turning Point, brought up Bill Ackman. Bill Ackman is a billionaire, obviously. He is also an extremely litigious billionaire.
And not only that, he pushes for people to get banned. I told you guys about Claudine Gay, what he did with her. during the beginning of the Gaza riots at Harvard University last year. Bro really throws money behind getting people canceled and fucked up.
And Bill Ackman was on Charlie about comments that Tucker Carlson had made on that stage. Tucker Carlson specifically asked the question, where does Bill Ackman's money come from? You know, who is this guy? Actually, who is this guy that has this much influence?
Yeah, Ackman is the worst.
And like I said, Bill Ackman was not happy about this. And so I would like to contextualize Bibi. Again, these are things Bibi brought up publicly, which he didn't have to. He didn't have to bring up the letter. He didn't have to bring up the phone call, but he chose to do this less than 24 hours.
Destiny Mars, thank you for the support. I snuck my camera in and found this out. Apparently, Jay's first assassination was 33 AD. They be doing it. Skilliam joined. Welcome. George. Should have sent them boys to Madagascar. Facts. Jay Floyd. I'm late to the party, but Myron did see the Twin Pool talking about Destiny stating the conservatives should fear death for their beliefs. I did not see that clip. Costa 03. Myron, I just got off Piers Morgan latest segment on YouTube with Destiny, Andrew Wilson, and Anna Kasparian. It really shows a lot about Destiny. I have no doubt that if something terrible happened to you, you would celebrate it. That little guy is a POS. Would you really still want to engage? Or I'll take a look at it. Okay, Constant Order showing support to us, Nick and Candace. That's cool. Appreciate that. Talk about humans like you value his life, but they call us Goyim. Yeah, facts. Absolute facts.
After Charlie Kirk was shot. Personally, Bibi, I would have appreciated if you guys used all of your spyware, you've been spying on us for years, to maybe track down the killer. But I guess this is where you thought it was.
Well, the news did come out saying that intelligence assets have helped out with the investigation.
Has to do a little
whatever the fuck that means.
Propaganda for Israel would be better than us helping us track down the killer. But anyway, so Bibi Netanyahu in that phone call, what took place.
Yes, the OSS code is Jews did 9/11, bro. Yes, base Chad. Literally one word. Jews did 9/11.
This was a couple of weeks ago before Charlie lost his life. Charlie was in the Hamptons and he had more than one event, but he had essentially what was staged, an intervention was staged by Bill Ackman. Because
why did they bury him so fast? You guys got to remember, man, in the Islamic faith, the Christian faith, and the Jewish faith, burying a person promptly within 24 to 48 hours is highly sought after in most of the Abrahamic religions. So that's why they moved to bury him as quickly as possible.
Charlie's rational thoughts about Israel were a no-no. This is not the route that you should be going on. And Charlie was surrounded by his friends, his quote-unquote friends. Bill Ackman was very upset, and threats were made. That is what I am told, and I will tell you that
some insider info right there.
I am very happy for Bill Ackman to dispute this narrative. In fact, he was asked to dispute this narrative. Max Blumenthal went out to him today, and Bill Ackman came back and said, I have receipts I can show you. And he did not provide the receipts. This is not how it went down. I know it went down this way. I'm waiting for one.
Guys, do me a favor. Smash that like button. We got, 4,500 you guys watching. We only got 1,500 likes, bro. Come on, guys. I stayed on YouTube on for you guys longer because I knew the show was going to be shorter. So do your boy a solid. Smash the like button. Let's get to at least 2,000. Let's get at least 50% engagement. God damn. I'm on fucking YouTube. The worst app ever for you guys. Censoring myself. So smash that like button, guys. That's all I request.
One of them to go on record and to say that it didn't go down this way. It was at this time that Bibi Netanyahu was called and Charlie was invited to Israel. This was an under duress situation, I would say, because I've been in these situations before. When I started asking very sensible questions about Israel, as someone who had dedicated her political life to supporting Israel, many times alongside Charlie Kirk, I was met with the very same pressure. And just like Charlie was being invited to Israel, I was invited somewhere else. And when this arrived to me, it felt like a threat. You know, I got to tell you that. It felt like a threat, like not like, hey, come here and we can educate you because you're my friend. More like, this is your last chance. That's how it felt to me. I can't.
That's good, bro. I'm telling you guys, man, they really run conservative media, bro. They run conservative media, man.
Beat how it felt to Charlie. And I know that Charlie was offered a ton of money in this moment. A ton of money. Bibi would fund it, you know, spend tons of money. And Turning Point, I guess, if it needed to go to a higher level, would have gone to an even higher level than it already was at. And I know for a fact that Charlie denied that funding. That Charlie denied, and what Bibi didn't include there, he declined to go to Israel for, I would describe this as like, you know, re-education camp. You know, we've seen it. You made an uh-oh, but we can help you.
And guys, just so you know, today's topic for Money Monday is how to build wealth with Trump's big, beautiful bill. We're going to have Steve from accounting on. And we're going to go over some of the things that you can utilize in this bill to really, you know, run it up. Because there's a lot of advantages in there for you, especially if you guys want to start a side business or anything else like that. So I'm going to get him on the Zoom call as well. And we're going to be taking Q&A for you guys. So it's going to be awesome.
You know, we just need you to come out to Auschwitz and take a picture. Yeah. We just need you to come to the Holocaust Museum and take a photo. We just need you to go to Israel and we could.
Yeah, smash the like button, guys. That's all I request. I think we're at like, when I looked, 1,500 something. I am going to end soon here. So.
Make this better. Charlie said no to Bibi. Okay. Bill Ackman, if you would like to dispute that, I would love to hear what you say happened.
I wonder if he's going to respond. He's probably not gonna.
Because our sources and what we have, it's solid. Okay. There were conversations that took place.
I believe her. Bill Ackman is a fucking scumbag. He did try to get, when that whole, you know, mustache man thing came out, remember guys, a month ago? Bro was on the internet sharing that clip, calling for us to be banned. So he absolutely uses his money and his influence and throws it around. That's a fact.
Place messages that were sent at that time, and they are solid. So I decided another person that was there, and I am not surprised this person was there. If you've been listening to my show, Seth Dillon, I was going to go out to Seth Dillon, and I decided to message him last night about this Hamptons meeting. And Seth Dillon, who is normally very quick with a response, has not yet been able to respond. I'll show you this text message chain. And I want to be clear, I am not someone who normally publicizes text messages. But my friend was shot in the neck. And I'm just not really in the state right now to be polite when it comes to the answers that I am demanding, okay? This is me out to Seth Dillon last night. I sent him Bill Ackman's tweet because, you know, he tweeted, I feel incredibly privileged to have spent a day and shared a meal with Charlie Kirk this summer. He was a giant of a man. I said, any comment on this one, Seth? He didn't answer last night. This morning I said, need a comment ASAP, please. He didn't answer. Then I followed that up and I said, trying again here, you were present when Ackman lost his mind on
Sarah, welcome to the OSS.
Charlie, and when Bibi invited him to Israel and Charlie refused. Text messages immediately following this meeting are circulating. I find Ackman's statement, as though the meeting was somehow cordial, to be incredibly disturbing. Are you at all disturbed by that tweet? Do you feel, as I do, that this tweet significantly betrays the defined purpose and mood of his, and I presume your, final meeting with Charlie Kirk, ? He was unable to speak to me, but he did place some frantic calls to Turning Point USA. Yeah. You see, I went out to Seth, but I also went out to two other people who were at this meeting, and nobody is willing to go on record. They're all messaging each other, trying to figure out a coordinated response to say that, no, this was all quite cordial, but no one wants to go on record and describe it as cordial because they know someone's leaking, because someone's got a guilty conscience about what happened at the Hamptons. So I will again put it out there, Seth, Bill Ackman, and to the other individuals who I have not yet named, but who are going to be named later this week, who were at the Hamptons when Charlie was put under pressure, when Bibi Netanyahu called him and invited him to Israel, again, in a move that when it happened to me, and it wasn't Bibi Netanyahu, felt to me like a laced threat. I am inviting you guys, I will give you my platform, actually, to come clear matters up, to tell us what really happened. Because, you know, I think Charlie was definitely on the brink of changing some of his perspectives. And I can tell you factually, Charlie was praying the rosary. Charlie was going to mass. One of my last conversations with Charlie was me joking with him saying, just make the last step, okay? You are, I said specifically, you're too smart to be a Protestant. Just take the last step, Charlie. He says, ha ha. He was speaking about Mary and...
We're just waiting on Fresh, guys. Once Fresh gets in the studio, we'll start Fresh and Fit. So I'll rock with you guys until then. I guess in the meantime, guys, we're sitting at 1,900. Let's get to 2,000. Okay. I don't want to cut the YouTube stream if I don't need to. Smash that like button. We've been going now for what, 2 hours on YouTube? Yep. We're just about to be 2 hours here. So smash that like button.
Typically, when those steps start taking place,
shout out to Our Kinks with the gifted sub. Appreciate you.
You stop referring to yourself, as I did, as a Judeo-Christian.
Yeah, that's a fake term.
Again, it is mystifying why, you know, Bibi was...
Why no long show today? Because we have Money Monday, bro.
Out there doing the absolute most to make sure that Charlie was basically remembered as, I would argue, like a Jew, has not been yet mentioned. I didn't hear that. Erica was very clear that Charlie was a Christian, and I believe Charlie obviously was very much a Christian, and that things are not being told truthfully. In fact, I will also call upon, since we're having fun, Turning Point USA to release the audio of what Charlie Kirk, because I was in communication with Charlie at this time, because I knew exactly which donors were pressuring him and why, exactly which people.
Oh, shit. Oh, shit.
That they were insisting Charlie allowed to speak at his event and why, when Charlie did not necessarily want those people to speak at his event. Okay. I'm calling upon Turning Point to release the footage of what Charlie said to Tucker Carlson before he hit the stage, before, you know, all of that craziness and the response to Tucker Carlson's remarks played out. Charlie was mic'd. Surely Tucker Carlson was mic'd. I know Charlie's mic'd the entire time at those events. So I'm asking for everyone to just release Charlie in his own words. I feel like that's pretty fair, right? Let's stop saying how Charlie felt. And instead, if you're going to hold up the letter, release it in its entirety. Okay? Why don't you release your messages, Bill? I'll release mine. Let's all just be very forthcoming about what took place. In fact, I'm calling upon Tucker Carlson to speak about that. I know what Charlie said to him, and I'm sure Tucker Carlson won't lie about it. What did Charlie say to you? Dave Smith, what did Charlie say to you? What was Charlie? Did he seem like he was treading in a direction? Like, do we feel like what Bibi is saying is honest, a representation of what Charlie was going through? This is what I want. I think that the thing that we need here, sunlight is the best disinfectant. Now, does all of this mean that Bibi Netanyahu and that this somehow proves that Israel was involved in the assassination of Charlie Kirk? No, we have no evidence of that. We can't say that because there is no evidence of that. But I don't like little lies. That's what I will say. Something that I always say in my household is, when there is one lie, there's 20.
SWF, appreciate you, bro.
There's no reason to lie. Bibi could have gone on Fox News and he could have told the truth. He could have said truthfully that Charlie Kirk has always loved Israel. He has always loved Israel as the Holy Land. He's been here many times. And throughout his career, he has been a faithful supporter of Israel. That's not what he said. Okay. He talks about the phone call and didn't give it the proper context. He held up the letter and didn't give it the proper context. And lies by severe omission. I'd like to.
All right, guys, we'll finish this up either later. Just start it up. That way I can redirect everybody. Yeah, guys, we're gonna start the Money Monday here. Yo, Mo. Let's let me give you the can you give Steve the Zoom link? Yeah. Steve from accounting? Just give me the Zoom link, text it to me in the chat. Yeah, make a Zoom link and then give me the Zoom link so I can get Steve on. All right, so we're gonna start this thing up in a second, guys, here.
To be very clear, are lies. Lies by severe.
Okay. Iron says, Myron, when can we get Nick Fuentes on Fresh and Fit? Soon. Drewski and the K-Tube stream. They're ungrateful as fuck and just complain. Yeah, bro, it's annoying as fuck. Kaji says, Charlie Kirk favorite clip. Don't have time to play it right now. Castle 2479. It'd rather get interesting when it talks about the weapons used. OSS Bishop says, I keep hearing he was a giant of a man. Guess who else was a supposed giant of a man? Goliath. Is this a sick play of words? I don't know. I think you're reading into it a bit too much, bro. Do you think the Jays are going to go after Candace? They already have, bro. They already have.
Severe omission are lies. You're not going to gaslight us and tell us to shut up or call us anti-Semitic for pointing out the fact that Charlie was having a change of heart about the tactics that Israel was using in America, and that he felt when he had left that meeting that he had effectively been blackmailed. Again, my platform is yours, Seth Dillon. My platform is yours, Bill Ackman. So if you want to clarify it, we can do it in front of millions, okay? And I think that that's what people deserve, because everyone has PTSD.
Selmania with the gifted sub, thank you very much.
We watched Charlie get shot in the throat. That feels a little bit symbolic. It feels like they.
Yeah, Martin, this is off topic, but at your last college debate, that was a weak argument when you said white straight men built this country, so it's not the same as them having guns and T's having guns. It didn't refute any of his facts. The guy cooked me. All right, dude. You're a fucking retard, bro. Holy shit, man. Holy shit, bro.
Wanted us to know that his voice was problematic again.
Can't reason with stupid sometimes, bro. Can't reason with stupid.
And I don't know who they is. After we take this brief break, we're going to go through the investigation, which seems to have a lot of inconsistencies and holes in it. And
Stan says, Anus and Reach never talked about Charlie Kirk and tells you that they care about making money and gaining views. Yeah. I told you guys, Abba and Preach are pussies. People like him, guys, Moist Critical, Abba and Preach, and all these like reactionary channels, they watch the news, they see where people are leaning, and then they make a video based on what people say. And they go with whatever has the most support. That's what they do. That's literally what they do. So, yeah. Stan says, yeah, we got that one. Almost forgot to remind you, can you read the entropy chats you took pics of yesterday? I read them earlier. Literally, I read them at the top of the show. Hodge says, hey, Myron, I have a theory that the shooter's decoy. Do you really think the Israelis are still using sniper rifles for political assassinations? They have many ways to do it, bro. They have many ways to do it. Many ways to do it. And also, Adolf Chrysler, from what I can remember from that debate with that guy when it came to the T shooters or whatever, my argument is that they should not have the ability to have guns because despite them only being 1% of the population, they're wildly overrepresented in school shootings. Okay? And I made the argument that they have mental illness. So to compare straight white men to T men, right, and saying, oh, well, they're the same because both of them do school shootings. Well, you're discounting the fact that The T's are a small minority of the population, but they've conducted a ridiculous amount of school shootings. Adolf Chrysler, whatever the fuck your name is. So that's my problem. They are wildly overrepresented in a heinous crime. So you cannot compare the two because it's apples to oranges. He tried to say, well, white men commit a bunch of crime as well when it comes to school shootings. And my argument is, well, they're the majority. So of course they're going to have more instances, but if we're going to go ahead and go from a perspective of who's more represented based on their population percentage, the T's have far more representation despite being a fraction, minute fraction of the population. That was my argument. Okay? So, Chrysler, you're a fucking retard. You are literally stupid. Absolutely fucking stupid. This is a big reason why, when I'm critical of black crime, I say that a ridiculous amount of violent crime is conducted by African-American males, despite the fact that they're only 6% of the population. So per capita fucking matters, retard. You can't sit there and be like, oh, well, technically, most school shooters are white dudes. So why are we holding white dudes to the same standard? Well, they're also the majority. They also built up society. So it's not even a fair comparison. But with T's, my argument is they're less than 1% of the population. I would argue that they're sick in the head because they can't even identify what gender they are, right? You can literally make an argument for that. And then this year alone, there's been multiple mass shootings conducted by them. And they're 1% of the population. I can think of 3 off the top of my head just in the last year alone. So that was my argument. You fucking idiot. Holy shit, you're stupid, dude. I'm embarrassed that you're in the OSS and you're that stupid. This nigga's talking, you're in the OSS and you're that dumb. Holy shit, bro. Damn, you're an idiot. Incredible. In-fucking-credible. In-fucking-credible, bro. What a fucking idiot, dude. Holy. CT Ghost says, Candace is so right about little less, little eyes are far more telling than a person. Yep. All right, guys, I'm going to end the stream. Come on over to Fresh and Fit. We're going to be live on Rumble and on YouTube covering building wealth with the big, beautiful bill. Don't be an idiot like this Chrysler guy. Okay? That is my cautionary tale. Don't be like him. He's a fucking retard, clearly, as you guys can see. Yeah. Anyway, guys. I'm going to end the stream right now. We just need to get Steve into the fucking Zoom call. All right, ninjas. I'll catch you guys. I might do a night train tonight, depending on how late we finish and time and everything else like that. But in the meantime, I'll catch you guys. Come on over to Fresh and Fit. Okay? Let me pull it up real quick. You can watch on YouTube, Rumble, or Kick. Stream is live right now. There's a link for all you guys. It's probably better that you guys watch it on Rumble or Kick. But whichever one you guys want, I dropped the YouTube link in there just because I have it handy. But anyway, guys, gonna end the stream now. Love y'all. Don't be an idiot like the other guy. And I'll see you guys in a little bit. Time to cook. Let's go. We're gonna teach you guys how to make some money so some of you brokies can join OSS. Peace.